So there is a shadow side to manifesting, which doesn't get talked about all that often, but it is just as important as anything else in the topic of reality creation. And that is that there's this shadow side to manifesting. Let's say you want to create a particular lifestyle or business or dream relationship and you get really clear on it. At least you think you're clear on it. You might not be as clear as you are 2 months, 5 months, a year later when something changes. But at least at that point, you have that certainty. You think you know what you want. And so, therefore, you visualize and you take massive action, and synchronicities and serendipities happen, and the universe goes magical, and people, places, and opportunities slot together to get you looking like you're really edging towards that goal. And then maybe some anxiety is triggered, maybe some fear. It starts ramping up, it starts escalating. There's more responsibility to take on. There's perhaps bigger sales in your business, more challenging, higher level clients. Perhaps in your relationship, the romantic attraction phase where the halo effect is on was going great, and then all of a sudden it's like, who is this person? And then maybe with that, it might show up as some anxious attachment as well. There's a lot of talk about anxious attachment these days, especially on Instagram. And here's the thing, none of this is a bad thing. We're talking about the shadow side, but the shadow is necessary. It's duality for the light to exist. There has to be the shadow. And so it's honoring the shadow. It's being present with what comes up. And even if it gets crazy and chaotic and dysfunctional because you end up getting captivated by the temptation of the ego and its narrative, and everything seems to collapse for a bit, things seem to fall apart, a relationship falls apart, or the business isn't coming in like it was before, or something like that. And this is the opportunity to go deeper, to awaken. This is the opportunity to use any pain that's generated by that, not to go into the fear story in your mind or the pain story in the mind and just ruminate, but to be present with those sensations and use them as a call to awakening. Use them, just be with those sensations and be present with them by just allowing them to exist in this spaciousness that you are, really being with those sensations. That is what's going to dissolve those sensations and that anxiety as you work through it, like you're peeling back layers of an onion. And as you do that, you're coming back to your true self. You're being aware of being aware. You're stepping into presence. And that's where your natural authenticity and clarity and vision and confidence and calmness and coolness, that's where it all comes from. So this is interesting, right? Because yes, manifesting has a shadow side, and that can be a bit, it can, for some people, it can be a bit overwhelming to think about the fact that, yes, if I create this thing which to me seems grand or bold, then what if it all falls apart? The thing is, it will do at some point anyway. All creation, this experience is temporary, or the form that the experience takes is temporary. You are the limitless, formless, spacious awareness that the experience arises within. So this is what it brings you back to when you're exposed to the shadow side. When you expose the shadow side, if you're exposed to the right teachings, or you have this intuition, there's this kind of grace that you see, okay, this story about what's happening is causing me suffering. I'm not trusting anymore. I'm not trusting in life anymore. I've gone into a fear response. There's something to look at here. And then you go ahead and you do whatever you need to do to heal. And you come further into being. And then later on, you find out that, oh, it was all necessary to get me to my dream. It was all necessary to get me there. This thing had to collapse because I had to learn this lesson. Like, the person I was before and who I needed to be now, who I need to be now, or who I am now, like, so different. And there had to be this interim thing. There had to be this chain of events that opened up that led me to the particular goal. There was one time I was like really screwed up about finding a niche in my business. I was so frustrated about it. I was getting angry about it. And I don't get angry very often these days, but I could feel it. And then something else in my life collapsed. A relationship collapsed. And after that relationship collapsed, I realized what my niche was then. I realized a whole new section of my business because of what had happened. Although obviously at the time, I didn't want that experience to happen. The mind is saying, like, this thing is the thing that you wanted collapsing. And, that can be a very transformative and painful process. But like I say, even if it leads to the dark night of the soul is your awakening opportunity. Just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And that form is temporary, not to attach ourselves to any experience, but get clear and get intentional and watch it unfold, not confusing ourselves for the character in the story, but knowing ourselves as the awareness. Peace.